The rules of the world right now on when you should have your life figured out, when you should be married, have children, make money, buy a home, and everything else are based completely on when people live to 45 and 55 years old. Period. The rules of our society have not changed in a very long time of expectation on what we should be doing with our lives. The problem with that is we're living to 100. The concept that a 25-year-old should have everything figured out is laughable. Most 60-year-olds I know don't have their life figured out. Why are 25-year-olds putting such pressure? I think that we have societally done a very poor job to our youth, which gets me to a place that's even more emotional for me, which is we must challenge the notion that so many parents in the world use their kids' success as their own self-esteem. What that does is it pressures children into short-term behaviors around education, occupation, and relationships that are often missteps based on very small windows of time. One of the great reasons I struggle with the way that education is sold in our society is we train kids from a very young age that you will be judged every 90 days on your actions. I think it leads to very, very vulnerable behavior that maps to our adulthood. So yes, I think that way too many people are judging themselves in the short term. Yes, I believe that if you are 63 years old, you still have 30 years to achieve fulfillment and happiness. And I think it's time that we have a totally different conversation around age, to the point where, in actuality, the fact that we pressure children into starting to get serious at 22 is actually ludicrous. 22 to 30 should be wild, high risk, high reward behavior because it's practical. Because even if you blow it and nothing goes well, you can start getting serious at 30, 35. And so we ask people to, now you're a grown-up, get a real job, and all this other ludicrous behavior that I think has really hurt society. I think a lot of it is predicated on outside affirmation. I think many people start doing things for validation from strangers or their parents or others. And I think we have to have more thoughtful conversations about it. I think it's quite depressing, for lack of a better word, that there are people that are 40 years old, still have 60 years ahead of them, and they think it's over. I think that needs to stop. You need to be you. But let me tell you this, the hardest thing at this age is to be you and not let other people's voices into your head to factor into who you should be. The hardest thing right now is to not do what you love because it's not cool or nobody else likes it or grows with it. That's the hardest thing. It's hard at this age to love kites or to love surfing or to love reading when it's not cool. It's easy to love Supremes and LeBron. Everybody loves Supremes and LeBron. I don't like LeBron that much either. But let me say this, and let me say it very clear to all of you. You are living in the greatest era to be alive of any human being ever, because you have the power of the world in your pocket. And you don't know that because you've never known no different. You don't know a world without an internet. The fact that you can start an Instagram account tomorrow about any subject, about anything, and a year from now, people are willing to pay you $500 to post a picture on that account, blows my mind. And if that's in you and you love that, you need to take that very, very seriously. It just is. People are you're gonna hear messages from where you live and in this class, and they're gonna come in both different places about how fortunate you are to hear and how tough you have it there. And the reality is, honestly, in my heart, I just genuinely don't think those things matter as much as everybody else in this room does. I think what matters the most is that you have the internet, and regardless of where you're from or how it's supposed to play out, every teacher in my life told me I was gonna be a loser. Straight up. It's just the truth. And by the way, I'm not mad at them. It was the 80s, we didn't have to be that politically correct back then. And when you get bad grades, that's what your teacher thinks. But inside myself, I always knew that wasn't true. I knew what I liked. The reason I had a very happy school career is peer pressure never penetrated my dome. I always knew who I was gonna be. I didn't care what was cool or not cool at the time. I just knew that I was gonna do my thing because I loved it. I didn't care that selling baseball cards went from cool in 6th grade to not cool in 10th grade. I kept doing it because I loved it. And I'm gonna give you another really good piece of advice. All those voices that tell you no, can't, not as good, whether that's your aunt, your neighbor, your older sibling, or even your parents, they're wrong. Life's about yes. It's just the truth. It's just unbelievable, my man. It's just unbelievable how much opportunity you guys are gonna have the rest of your life. It's just unbelievable. It makes no sense. Boys that look like you in the 80s, lost. Boys that look like you in the 2020s are gonna win. Because the generation I grew up with and they grew up with, the system wasn't as good for us that grew up with nothing. The next generation, because of the internet, the system is benefiting the people that know what it's like to struggle or fight. It's hurting the people that are entitled and are soft and have it easy. You guys have a blessing in your circumstance, and I don't think people are telling you the truth about how big the blessing is and how big the opportunity is. That's my truth. That's what I think is happening. I think that you need to start communicating to the world about the things you're interested in. The reason most of you haven't started an Instagram account or put out more content is because you're worried about what other people think, or if you don't get enough likes, or all that other crap that everybody worries about. It's called insecurity. You actually worry about what the other person sitting next to you thinks. I understand it. I respect it. 99% of people live life that way. But the reality is, the quicker you figure out how not to factor that in, is the quicker you're gonna get real happy real fast. When you're 23, society's trying to tell you you have to figure it out, but I got a big news for you. No 23-year-old had it figured the fuck out either. Like, you got lots of time. I think the next 7 years is a good time to go high risk, high reward. Like, just live humble. The only reason kids get caught is you wanna buy dumb shit to impress other people. If you don't buy dumb shit, then you can do anything. Go taste things, go figure out what you like to do, because the level of hard work it takes to actually be successful is a lot easier when you actually like something. And the reality is, too many people are fucking lazy because they want it too fast. So you need to figure out something you actually like, so you put in the hours, because nothing great comes easy.
Yay!
Amen.
Oh my God.